and hope I didn't take too long. How long was it?
Just checking.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, pastors.
For the people allowing these services, we are so grateful. These interactive sessions.
It was
Sorry?
1 hour 45 minutes or
1 hour. Hey, that was long. How many questions did we cover today?
We covered 2 questions. And that's miraculous. We managed to fit.
Miraculous? What do you mean?
Father, you have a remarkable ability to take one question and sit for hours.
Yeah. Thank God. So at least today we covered a lot.
We really did, and people are loving these sessions, Father.
These question and answer sessions.
The interactive session,
Yeah.
So refreshing.
Yeah.
We loved both the questions.
Yeah.
First one was quite something because you didn't understand the aspect of spiritual growth.
Yeah.
You explained it.
Yeah.
It never dawned on us that that's the reality.
Gentlemen, go for the word. That's all I can say. Everything else we can do. We have people that are fasting more than we are doing. But if you have to dig deep into what has given them growth, it's not necessarily the fast. All you do is to suppress the physical man. You deprive him of a chance to participate in your spiritual decisions. That's all that you're doing when you're fasting. Abstaining from food that is physical. You're starving this physical man so that he stops participating in your decision making. So you end up thinking that you're becoming more spiritual. Yet you're not becoming more spiritual. You are still at the same level. All you've just done is just to deprive this physical man of an opportunity to interfere with your spiritual activities. But for you to really grow spiritually, you have to hearken. Love hearing God's voice, especially when He speaks. Be there. Be there. That gives you growth, and that growth is guaranteed.
So I don't have to do 200 days like you did.
Or fasting.
Or fasting.
You have to.
Father, that was something.
You have to.
When I read that, I couldn't believe that a human being, in fact you are not, but you 200 days.
I am. Anybody can do that. If you can do 1 day, you can do 200 days.
Wow.
Because you are breaking in the evening. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But the focus is, we always used to think that that is what gives you spiritual growth.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. It reduces the height of the physical man. Then the spirit man appears to be much more taller. Simply because the tallest guy has been dealt with. Yeah, but if you want the spirit man to grow, you have to love God's word. Yes.
And moving on, we were excited again. Question that then came because the feeling was we are getting back now. That subject that you had said, no, this one, I'm shelving it. I'm not going to deal with this subject for a very long time. The one on gifts. That was... we got excited. I scratched my frame. Here it is now. We're getting to that match.
I wouldn't bring that one back until this foundation that I have laid today. It's a foundation that I have laid today, and until it is set, then I will introduce the matter of gifts.
Foundation, Father, we were celebrating then that we were at window level. Window level of the building.
That the house was almost done. No. Remember there was an interruption. We were interrupted at the time because I really wanted to introduce the subject, and a number of people were not ready for that kind of a teaching then. That's why there was an uproar, a misunderstanding which was serious. Remember 3 years ago, on the giftedness of the gift.
The gift.
Yes. Yes. And the people's argument was, when I said we are gifted, God is not gifted. And really, people didn't take that. How can God give us gifts if He doesn't have?
If He doesn't have gifts,
So that mentality that they had was that God was gifted, and they still have that mentality. Okay, this statement that I've just uttered will prove what I've just told you. That's why I'm saying I have to set a foundation. And all that I did, do you know that if I'd said I'm gifted and God is not, it would be difficult for people to hear. But if people were saying God is gifted, and then I have to come now and agree with them.
Okay.
And say, but I'm more. It's a provocation now. Because if I'm to come now and I say that you said last time that God was gifted, no one will admit. You simply have to borrow their language. Their language is saying God is gifted. And I was saying God is not gifted.
It's not.
So all I did, if you look at how I did it, I made sure that their language is included by saying I have more. I am more gifted. It's an admission that we are dealing with a God that is gifted. But all I'm telling them now that my gifts are more. Mine are more so because they really believe He's gifted. So if you say I have more, then they are ready to defend their gifted God. So we have to borrow their language.
Okay.
You bring it in, and you admit that He is gifted, your God, but I have more. And when they start to cry, if anyone is going to cry over that, then they have to tell us the number of the gifts that their God has.
So that's where we are going.
Exactly. Okay. We have to come to a place where we all agree that we are serving one God who cannot be gifted, who is above all of us. And as much as we might all be gifted, but we are inferior, we are limited by those gifts. God is not. He's bigger and He's greater. So I try by all means to make sure that my language is there, but I brought it later. My language is there, I brought it later. My language is there, which I said 3 years ago.
And that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Which is that in my language is saying God cannot have a gift. He's not gifted. But I had to include their language this time around to say, I have more, in case you insist that He is what?
He's gifted.
Anyone who gets angry, that's the class, that's the group of people that we're trying to bring to this understanding that God is not. You cannot get angry unless you thought God was what?
Was gifted.
God was gifted. Anyone who comes and he says he has more.
That's extraordinary.
Yes. So that's the idea. When we finally come to the same position where everyone is in agreement that God is not gifted, you will see a few weeks from now, I will reintroduce this subject of spiritual gifts, and people are going to really find it so helpful. Yeah. So it's intentional.
You give us a teaser, maybe.
No, the teaser.
No, behind the scenes.
There we have it. Wow.
Yeah, my brother, it's quite a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in, but we're learning. It's the learning for me that is really capturing the essence of the subject matter.
And there's the aspect of the learning, but also there's the aspect of, I think our father has already said that this vehicle is being driven. It's being piloted. It's not an autopilot. And there's a pilot who knows where he's going to land it and how.
Guys, stop enjoying yourselves. I'd want to be part of it.
Oh, Father, thank you so much.
You. It's all right.
Thank you.
It's all right.
We're grateful.
You know, this is so that we let's study, let's learn, especially you pastors, because there are certain things that were mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. we might still leave other people wondering. Because what we are hearing in that discussion is a matter that is not new.
Mm-hmm.
Because once there is a reference in a video
Yes.
To another video,
Mm-hmm.
we must still give people access to that video that we are referring to in this video. Yes, because it's a build up, it's a journey, especially when a father in a home environment is raising his kids.
Yes.
He knows how this one was born. He knows he got sick at this point. There was this incident and he recovered. Parents have stories for each of their children. We know how we have been raising our family. This is a family matter where we are trying to help our people, and we are growing in this knowledge. But the moment you jump in, you come in from the forest, you will get confused. And people should learn a lesson from this.
I wonder what is happening.
Please,
What is happening?
next time you hear me speak, just assume the guy knows what he's doing. Stay away, and you'll be safe. You will not embarrass yourself, because we know we can't be at this level and be ignorant. We can't be. So, this is what we need to do justice to this. Because we can't be heard by people talking about the subject of the gifts, which I tried to introduce 3 years ago. And some people might be wondering, though there was a misunderstanding 3 years ago, and really there was a lot of noise.
There was an uproar.
Yes. So we have to look at what I had said before, 3 years ago, which really caused that commotion. For me then to say, I don't want to talk about this for now until people are ready. What it really had happened. So I want you to, again, allow the people to watch what was said. And it's on YouTube, right?
It is.
Yes. So you make sure that people
provide the description.
A description, and it has been there. You can go there and see when it was uploaded. It has been there for 3 years. I will tell you why we are doing this today. So it's up to you, Pastor, and then you allow us to also see. But I want you to please take note of the consistency, so that you know whether there is any room for us to make a mistake and to contradict ourselves. Okay, so I'm handing over to you, Pastor.
Thank you so much.
Whatever you want
Thank
to
you
say.
so much, Father.
Yeah.
This is an excerpt from the teaching series that was done in the year 2020 on the 7th of June, The Giftedness of the Gift. Please watch.
God, of all the people that I know, all the personalities that you can think of, God is not gifted. Okay? God is not gifted. He doesn't have even one gift.
And he's the giver.
He's the giver of gifts.
Without a single
Anyone
gift.
giving it to him.
All right.
Yes. Because once he has a gift, then we know there's somebody who gave it to him.
Right. Yes.
He's not gifted. Okay. He is the source where gifts originate from. Yes. But us, the gifts, are also gifted. And we are gifted in different ways. We are never the same. The sooner we accept that, the quicker we excel and we become better in lives. Don't argue with that fact. Yes. It's an established truth. You move around, you meet people who are gifted in very, very strange ways. You try to argue with that, you will not survive the argument. You simply have to look at it and admit that
this guy is gifted. This woman is gifted. That doesn't disqualify you from being a gift. You're a gift, not that gifted. So, and then I said that there is a checklist that you can actually tick in trying to establish the presence of God in a place. And making sure that it is not just the gift that you have identified, but also the giver of the gift. And I said you can have the presence of the gift in the absence of the giver of the gift. Because what makes the gift
Is the absence
is the absence
of the giver.
of the giver of the gift.
Yes.
And I said this is where most of our people have been deceived. Because they stay in a place on the basis of the manifestation of a gift, because they were not trained, they were not equipped to discern the difference between the two, the gift and the giver. So they assume that once they have had the gift manifesting, that is the manifestation of the giver of that gift. So you can have miracles happening even in the absence of the giver of the gift of miracles. I don't want to quickly jump into that because then I may then mess up my my foundation where we need to start from.
Wow. As far back as then, 2020, the consistency, word for word, of all the personalities that I know, God is not gifted. At all. At all. He doesn't have a single gift.
A single gift.
And we are gifted. And that's why he's superior.
And remember the uproar that happened at that time. And the Father said, no, let's shelve this one. We'll come back to it. And here we are. Father, we are grateful. But at the same time,
So it's mind-blowing because it shows a very deliberate approach to...
Definitely, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. When you're a lecturer and you have your class, this is how you present cases. And it would be embedded, it would be printed, it would be indelible. Yes, it will be remembered forever. So let's put all of these videos together and make sense out of them.
Thank you.
What really is happening here? This last video is coming to some of the people, not our family. Even some of our family members might have actually forgotten that we survived a conflict 3 years ago. But now getting to hear what was said 3 years ago, this time around, but it is word for word. So then what was the mistake? What was the error? What really triggered the uproar this time around? Whatever agitated and stirred up the people was put in there as an ingredient deliberately. Because this is the matter.
Yes, sir.
So get the wisdom out of all this.
Thank you.
And viewers, please get wisdom out of this. Next time that you have a discussion, not just an argument, don't enjoy arguments, but please enjoy discussions. If they are constructive, if they are informative, please be a part of that. Don't run away from discussions that are going to improve and stimulate your logic and your reasoning. Be a part of it. There's nothing wrong in that. And also there's nothing wrong in a lecturer building a case. Yes. I never used to, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until, even when I went to Bible college, it was so funny to me because to me, you would not say anything about God that is not even consistent with scriptures. I first saw that when I sat under proper lecturers who know how to build cases. Yes, a lecturer can come in and he tells you God is not holy. God is not faithful. Yeah.
And it's not heresy.
It's not.
In that context.
Yes, and then he tells you, go and prove me wrong. Yes.
So learning environment.
So you don't go into a prayer closet and you start to pray for cases to fall upon the lecturer. No, you prove him wrong. But this is what I wanted to learn out of this. I know somebody is under pressure to say, no, you said you have more. Wait for me. This is this is not your mate. Can't you learn? It's high time you learn. It's interesting. So when you listen to what was being said behind the scenes, we talked about several other issues.
That's right.
But when we got to the issue of the gifts, people really wanted me to come back to the subject. But I was saying, no. You want me to talk about these gifts because the way that I'm going to present gifts, as you will see from next time that I'm coming,
Thank you.
you realize really there was need for this foundation.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Because back then, it's a subject I was ready to present, a subject, but it was faced with a lot of resistance because when I said 3 years ago, we are gifted, God is not. My God.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there are several places on social media that you can still find today where there was an uproar.
Yes.
Yes. Because they are saying, how can you say God, how can God give people gifts if he doesn't have them?
Have a gift.
Yes. And the fact that God has gifts means he's gifted. How can you attack? How can you criticize? You want to make yourself superior.
Yes.
You see, that was the issue then.
Yes.
That God cannot give gifts unless he is gifted.
Yes.
That is 3 years ago. My brothers and sisters, please follow this. Please follow this. So that was the issue. Then I'm coming back a few weeks ago. Then I said, I'm more. You know what is happening there for some of the people to understand?
Yes.
What I was saying in that review that we were having after.
Yes,
we always have those reviews every time. We don't just meet and then we part ways.
No.
We are a family. We fellowship. We spend most of our time feasting on God's word. Yes. That's what we do. Yes. But before I explain these 2 videos, let's look at the responses that we got from the people. Did we get the answers that we asked for? Did we get the gifts from the people that God has and where he got those gifts from? So we'll address that first, and then we'll get to the comparison aspect so that we don't leave you out. There is no question that we will avoid, especially if we have made you to ask. Especially if we have made you to ask those questions. There's no way that we can avoid such questions. So I'll deal with the gifts.
Yes, Father.
And then we'll also consider other answers that came.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
In response to a question that was never asked. yet people still felt like there was a need for them to answer.
a question.
We'll still consider that.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
When it comes to the issue of comparison and so on. Because someone is saying, but you said you have more. We'll address that. But did you get how many answers did we get on the gifts? And
Father, we got several responses, but after having pored over almost all of them, we have yet to find a single one that indicates a gift that God has and the source for that gift. We are finding other things, like you mentioned, that people have been speaking about the issue of comparison. Is it right to do so? Is it not indicative of pride? They have been speaking about, give us a scriptural basis for this position that we are more gifted than God. They've even attempted to reduce it to a question of wordplay. You're talking about gifts, but we're talking about comparison.
okay.
But no one has yet come and said, God was gifted by so-and-so, and this was the gift that they got. That one we haven't found.
Not as yet. No, we haven't found any.
All right. So this is a build-up. You are on a construction site. This is exactly, you heard me on the review. I said we need to bring people to this same position.
Yes.
Now, notice what is happening. This is what I've learned. When you come up with an idea and you say, this is my thinking, and someone feels obligated to always come against your idea. If it's your thought, it's wrong. If it's your idea, it's wrong. If it is your ideology or theology, it is wrong. Okay, so when you say, this is what I'm thinking, he's going to attack what you're thinking by thinking otherwise.
Yes.
So he will attack your thought with his thought.
All right.
Okay, that's exactly what happened 3 years ago. Because I was saying, we are gifted, God is not.
Yes.
And they were saying, God is gifted. That's why he gave us gifts. So the contention was over God having a gift, according to them.
Yes.
And my position was, no, we do have gifts. God doesn't have. So I'm saying God is not gifted. They are saying God is gifted. God is not gifted. God is gifted. God is not. God is gifted. How then is he going to give you a gift if he's not gifted?
Yes.
So we're the group of people, majority of the people that did not receive that message 3 years ago, were of the idea that God is what?
Is gifted.
Is gifted. Now, if you want to see whether it's just an idea that they are attacking because it is your idea, this is what you do. If they are getting used to attacking your idea on the basis of it being your idea, this is what you do.
Yes.
3 years down the line, because critics don't have good memory.
Yes.
3 years ago, you come.
Yes.
And then you borrow their idea
Okay. Okay.
that they use to attack your idea with. And then you personalize it. You say, this is my understanding. This is my thinking. Look at the construction. I said, if I'm to give you my understanding,
Yes. You seek deliverance.
you will seek deliverance. I to take their understanding, all of the weapons that they used
Yes.
against my idea, my thought,
Yes.
my theology 3 years ago. So picking those and saying, this is my thinking. My thinking is I am more. Now, this is what I'm saying. When you say a statement like that, it is in response to a 3-year-old attack. But I want to personalize their thinking
Okay.
and watch them attack their own reasoning, what they used to attack. Because in attacking their own attack, they are now confirming what I'd said 3 years ago.
So what they were denying, they are now agreeing.
They are agreeing because now I'm saying this is my
understanding.
thought. This is their thought that God is gifted. Okay, this was their idea that God is gifted. So now I'm saying, okay, let's have a compromise here. Since you're insisting that God is gifted, now I'm coming in. I want to provoke you by admitting that God is gifted, but I have more. So in that case, we are not dealing with the same God. You must understand.
All right.
Mine is not
Gifted
at all. And you were saying yours is gifted. Now, but in order for you to then give me a list of his gifts, I have to downplay your God who is gifted. And I tell you that I have more. So the term more is in response to a God that you said is gifted.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yes.
You said. So in denying that he is not, I have to raise myself above that gifted God by claiming that I have more gifts than a God that is gifted. Not God, not the creator. That one is not. The moment a person calls that statement blasphemy, okay?
Yes. Yes.
There is an acknowledgement that somehow God has been outnumbered in terms of gifts. He believes that God is gifted.
All right.
You would rather call it foolishness.
Not blasphemy.
Yes, I would believe one person who calls me a fool when I say I'm more gifted than God, and then I say God is not gifted. If I say I have more gifts,
Yes.
God is not gifted.
Yes.
I have more gifts. If you look at that, looking at my face, looking at me, you must understand where I'm coming from. I'm more gifted because God doesn't have.
Yes.
The two cannot go together. You must be suspicious of what is being said. So it cannot be blasphemous to say I'm more gifted because God is not gifted. The moment you feel like God is under attack, there is a belief that you have that somehow He is gifted, but I'm claiming to have more. Get the sense?
Yes,
We're getting the sense.
I'm claiming to have more.
Yes.
Because you can't say you have more unless God has little, a few.
Yes.
So I'm the one saying I have more.
Yes.
And now people are saying I'm also the one saying God has. You are not following where we're coming from. This is 3 years you fought the idea I had that I still have today that He doesn't have. So I'm coming back now. And I want to challenge you by saying, okay, now that you have insisted that God is gifted, let's look at the number. Then I'm saying I have more. Okay. If you, I know most of the people have been to school. Access to education is, I know it has been difficult for some people, but a number of people are educated, and I respect that. When you have a child, I'll present it in two ways. When you tell your son not to put his hand into the fire, and you tell him fire is hot, it will burn you.